So every time I come on the show, usually I always say I like Liverpool. I never get to work alone, but like I say, I go change that line because right now Liverpool just they collect back to back to back. But all I do, I never get to work alone on the show. Every glider show, you know that if I'm seated here, I am flanked alongside the very best to give you top class analysis. And this week, no other than Timothy, who is here joining me on the show. Timothy, how are you doing? How was your weekend?
Yeah, weekend was nice. Interesting football weekend for me. And yeah,
interesting is the word you like to use, Abby.
Yeah,
okay.
Little chilled and disappointing that our league champions were battered, but
which of the our please is
it?
We
know
Nigeria? No, like our what?
Our league champions.
Our where? Our Nigeria.
They are not your league champions anymore.
No, I'm saying there's a reason.
Nigeria's league champions.
It's not only one league champion that was battered, please. That's why I'm trying to
I just keep quiet. I don't want to. I grab, but I just don't want to talk.
You know what eats me. I understand. And you're wearing red. I love your dress. How many months to Christmas like this?
No. Me, I'm very counting. No, Merry Christmas, everybody.
I like the fact that you don't walk alone, but you wore red today.
There's a reason I wore red. I will explain.
Get why?
There's always a reason I do things on this show. I will explain. But let's get your weekend. So that was how your weekend is. Interesting. Sad that your league champions in Nigeria, I need to add that asterisk. Nigeria, we are battered. Okay. Interesting weekend. Really interesting if you put it that way. And also to the man from Anfield. He was not in Anfield yesterday, but he felt defeat everywhere. He was in the midst of everything. He was collecting home and away. God is with us. Emmanuel is in the building today. How are you doing?
Well, in terms of the job, it was a fantastic weekend.
Cash out.
Sharp guy. You cannot lose everywhere.
Timothy they always go down when it comes to me. I don't know why, but I mean, it was fantastic. Let me leave it at that. Man, no good disclose things, but it was wonderful. It was hectic, busy. I didn't get to see some games, but I mean, like I was talking with Timothy off air, there was the African School Games, the maiden edition. It was held at the British International School in Victoria Island, so I was on commentaries as well.
You see why I said cash out?
Allow the list how they go. I will tell you whether it's cash out or not. Yeah, continue.
I mean, it was the first time I was in that premises. I love the school. I mean, when you see kids that are there, the way they speak, say you need to hustle. May your picking go better school and stuff like that. But it was fun.
Yeah,
and I love seeing kids engaging in sporting activities. They want to swimming. I was also did my bits on commentaries. The next day, track and field, athletics. I mean, when the track and field, if a long jump, high jump, and on the tracks as well. Then final day football. 10 minutes, albeit, but young kids, they still have to show their abilities, grooming stages as well. So it was hectic all through. Then on Sunday, all the way down to Abeokuta, another disappointment. Remo Stars. A lot of people have come out to say that they expected that result. I wasn't expecting a 5-1 scoreline. I know we're going to touch on it more on the show, but basically that's how my weekend went. While I was on commentaries, if there's a break, I go on live scores and see what's happening. I just get a notification, say 2 minutes in Buemu. Bye. I'm like, what is happening? What didn't happen?
And what time did you get that first going at Abeokuta? Because I was not really even settled.
I think it was around the 11th minute mark, where Sundown scored the first goal, and I mean that opened the floodgates. 2 in the first half, 3 in the second half, and that was how it went. But overall, like I said on the job, fantastic weekend. But looking at other aspects, result-wise, in terms of my football and my team, was a torrid weekend for me. But good to be back here on the show, and I mean, good to have you as well on the show.
Okay, good to have you. You were not here on Wednesday when we recorded. So yes,
something happened though. We could have been here.
Yes. No, I'm just saying, like you were not supposed to be on air with us, but you should have been here. So we didn't get to see you all through for almost 2 weeks now. I didn't see Emmanuel for 2 weeks. Yes, 2 weeks I've not seen Emmanuel. So it's great to have you. Great to see you again. And for me, I had a very interesting weekend, I would say. Interesting because it was hectic. I had to go for that game in Abeokuta. I went to Abeokuta. I came back yesterday. I went to Abeokuta yesterday afternoon. I got back last night. Got back late because I had work to do and I did not carry my system. My laptop was here in Lagos. So I had to come back yesterday night to finish up. Else, the person will sack me. And then over the weekend too. I mean, it's always nice when your club is the first to play and you win, and then you're waiting for that to play. It's always sweet. So early kickoff, yes, and then the whole drama. And I'm wearing red because I'm a Chelsea fan. I'm not supposed to wear red. I'm supposed to wear blue. Chelsea is now the club of red cards. If you're on this platform, don't worry, I'll give you guys our promo code on the platform so that when you sign up, you can always play Chelsea to get a red card. It will enter. It's sure you die. It will enter. The last 6 games, Chelsea have gotten 5 red cards, including their manager. So everybody does the collect. Don't worry. So yes, that's why I'm putting on red, because I play for the club that is Red Card FC right now, and that's how my weekend went. But let's go on a break quickly. When we come back, we'll go into the conversation of the day. It's been a very, very long week as a Nigerian, as a football fan, and we'll touch in on every of that when we come back on this break. Stay with us. Yeah, you're welcome back. Like I promised you that if you stay on the show, I'll give you something you can use to bet Chelsea to get a red card, and then you would win. So yes, this is it. If you are a first-time subscriber on this show and you've not registered on the platform BetWGB, you can do that. Use our promo code Gliders and you get a 200 naira welcome bonus for you to use, bet and make thousands and millions of naira on the platform. Remember to use our bet code to bet on things. I mean, there's a lot of things to bet on. Chelsea to get a red card, Liverpool to lose by a late goal, all those kind of things.
That has been the story. That's been the case in the last few games.
Those ones are short odds. I'm giving you guys short odds. Other things you can play, of course, now Champions League is this week. You can play other Champions League game, Mbappe to score, those kind of things. Those ones are short odds all those things. But yes, I'm just giving you that. So don't forget to use the promo code and, of course, register on the platform. And not forgetting that if this is your first time, if not subscribed, please subscribe. Drop a comment on what you want to talk about on all our talking points today. But let's start from
so we're not singing today.
Like that's not just
you want the 21 days program, I mean, on the Gliders.
The only song that I will sing, do you know it? Liverpool's You Will Never Walk Alone.
I don't know.
I know it. If I say he's not in a good mood, you will not follow me to sing.
I know they sing.
I'm a Liverpool fan, but I'm not going to follow me to sing. So let's just leave it. Don't worry, we'll sing another day. But let's start from London. Although the game was not played at home, it was played away to Nottingham Forest. But Chelsea, another red card. Now I want us to talk about this. I told you that's the reason I'm wearing a red dress today, because of Chelsea. Now let's talk about this. Timothy, do you think there is a problem with discipline in that team? For you to get 5 red cards in 6 games, including the manager, and I'm talking about in all competitions because it also stretches to the Champions League, is there a discipline problem in Chelsea? Because I mean, you are winning. This last one was even the one that was absurd to me. Other ones you can say, okay, they've not scored. There's what was that thing? There's tempers that's flaring up in the game, but you've gotten your third goal that seals it in the 87th minute or so. You're getting a very, very unnecessary red card. That was Malugusto, by the way, who got the last red card in this game. Now, do you think there's a discipline problem for Chelsea, and what do you think they can do to curb it before it start biting them in the chin? Because at this time, I mean, they are winning, so people don't really look at it. They got a red card against, although that was the manager, they got a red card against Liverpool, and it was the manager. They went on to win that game, no problem. Nobody really put eye on it. But if they had lost the game, you understand that people will face that red card. Against Nottingham Forest too, a red card after winning 3-0. Do you think there's a problem, and do you think they should address it as soon as possible?
Yeah, of course, it's a big problem when you get those amount of red cards in those amount of games. I think you said 5 in 6 games. Like, it shows that there's something wrong with the team. And for yourself as a club, you do not want to, when you begin to do these things, you put yourself in a position in the presence of referees that, okay, you are that person that we can target, and the referees can be justified. We know that most times some calls where, okay, as humans, we not being on the refereeing side, we feel like, okay, maybe some of these red cards, or even if it's a second yellow card, the way we describe it can be very harsh sometimes, in terms of, okay, maybe the referee could have maybe be a little bit merciful. But if you put yourself in that position where referees can see you and say, okay, I mean, you people are used to it now. Just like let's continue to dish out maybe yellow cards, red cards, because you people can always do it. So I feel like Chelsea themselves, they need to work on what that discipline is in their club, starting from the head coach himself down to the players and everyone that is like acknowledged with the football side of things on the pitch. They need to be very, very careful with the way they do this, because if you continue to do it, it will become a part of you, and then when you need to not get the red card, it would matter most, and then you feel very, very haunted with getting that red card. So I mean, unnecessary red card. I remember, I don't know, I think the one Joao Pedro also got was one that I can't remember the game particularly, but it was also an unnecessary red card.
That was in the Champions League against Benfica.
It was an unnecessary red card. Malo Gusto's zone against Nottingham Forest, very, very unnecessary. Maybe the one for the coach Zomareska himself was out of euphoria of he celebrated and went out of his technical area. I think that was what gave him the second yellow card that made him get the red card. But we can pardon all those ones. But still, it's beginning to build up, and in the mindset of even the players themselves, and like I did say, the referees, it is something that will begin to probably affect them. So they need to fix up, play your game. I know that sometimes you maybe don't know how to control all of these things, because I don't think any player goes onto the pitch to say, even the coach say, I want to go to this game right now and I want to get a red card, or I want to get a second yellow card after you had gotten the first one. But sometimes it's about loss of head, not being balanced in your mental state at that point in the face of play that makes you get a second yellow card, or even if it's a direct red card most times. So they need to take it easy, be calm. They're not doing badly. I think aside the run of maybe 2-3 games where they did not get a win, they've not had such a blip where you say, Chelsea are under tension or under pressure to let's get a result and all of those things. They're currently 4th or 5th on the table, if I'm not wrong. So they're doing well for themselves. There's no reason why you should be getting unnecessary red cards. I mean, if your players keep getting red cards, who would play the other games? We see the likes of Cole Palmer. Is not fit at the moment. We see the likes of Caicedo. He's not fully fit. That was why he was brought into the Nottingham Forest game. If you have players that are beginning to pick up injuries, and the ones that can play the football are getting red cards, who will eventually play the football? So
if you consign me,
they need to be careful about it.
At this point, you need to be a little worried, because it's a disciplinary issue. I saw a stat that Chelsea are now the second most ill-disciplined team after Brighton, because when you keep on picking those
and then the fact that it's a big team, if you can understand when it is for teams like Brighton, but for Chelsea,
so, and it's when you put the whole thing together, red cards and yellow cards, Chelsea are the second most ill-disciplined team. So it's becoming a concern. It's a disciplinary issue. You wonder if that's down to Maresca's style of play, but at times it's not even about style. It's about the player himself know when to keep your composure and not concede those red cards, because if you keep on being carded, it can disrupt team rhythm. It can disrupt the team flow as well, because when you get red card, you're suspended for the next game, and if the manager wants to build on your performance, that's the disruption itself. So I think they need to watch it. Like you mentioned earlier, it's not affecting result right now, maybe to a major extent, but if he continues to get to a point where it's going to affect results, affect performance, affect team flows and all that. So at the moment it's an issue, and hopefully they can curb it out in subsequent games, but results is going well so far, so maybe it might not be a key talking point right now, but it's something they should watch out for in subsequent games. They need to know that this thing can disrupt games, can affect results, can affect performances and all that. So
talking about killing two birds with a stone, let me take from the words of Timothy and where he talked about the fact that for a team that you don't get to pick out a particular particular person, and you expect it not to affect like team flow. That's going to the other team that played in that game, Nottingham Forest. Now Nottingham Forest picked out a person from the team, which is Espirito Santos, the coach of the side, brought in Angel Postecoglou from Spurs, who was sacked by Spurs, by the way, not from Spurs, was sacked by Spurs, and then he came to give them a record that I'm sure they never ever want to remember in their life, becoming the person to be sacked after just 8 games. I think, yes, after just 8 games, and now they are in the mix to get Sean Dyche to come save their season. That's the talking points for today. It might be confirmed before the end of the day, we don't know, but I mean that's the person that they are eyeing. Now Nottingham Forest's ego and all of that was what eventually played out last season and they carried it into this season for a team that was fighting for Champions League spots at a point last season until the final day of the season, by the way.
I think
until the final day of the season
for Europa. That was for Europa League.
Was it for Europa League?
They could not make it to the top 5 again on that final day. Okay, yeah, they
were
could still.
Yes,
they
on the final day, because I know
day.
it was themselves, Chelsea and was it Newcastle were in contention for Champions League spot for that 5th spot on the final day. And right now, you've gone on to not get a win in 8 straight games, and that includes both in Europe and of course in the domestic league. What do you think eventually played out for Nottingham Forest this season? I mean, we understand that there was the whole thing with the coach last season and the owner. What do you think eventually played out? Because I mean, you bring in a new coach and you expect most times you expect the manager bounce. Is it that the players are not the players for his system, or do you think that it's just a thing with the entire club? Everything is just wrong with that club right now.
I'll pick it on 2 sides. So firstly, on the part of Evangelos Marinakis, who is the owner of Nottingham Forest. Although with precedence, Olympiacos and so many other clubs he has run, we know he's someone that can sack you anytime. I mean, given the
someone said low budget Roman Abramovich.
Yeah, given the Roman Abramovich vibe, he could like sack him, because I know that there was an internal issue with Nuno Espirito Santo, and then all of the arguments with Edu, the sporting director at Nottingham Forest there, but it should not have led to you letting him go based on that. I know that most times as an egoistic person and who you have always been, you want to be that boss. I'm the one in charge, this is my club, you can live for me. I felt like it was too harsh to let Nuno go, and it was not as if Nuno was not getting the result. I mean, Nottingham Forest have 5 points now, and that is after Ange Postecoglou has managed 5 games in the league for them, and he got just 1. So it shows you that even the 5 points they have, 4 from it was from the previous tenure of Nuno Espirito Santo. So it shows you how good he was in the short stints that he had there. And coming to the part of Postecoglou, I feel like it was a wrong decision to make him the coach. No apologies on this, but I talked about the fact that forget the Europa League that he won with Tottenham Hotspur. His season was shit last season. If you finish 17th in the Premier League, and then your next job that begins a job where they were almost finishing in Champions League, like you did say the previous season, and they are picking up that job. I do not know what reason would have made Marinakis to go and say, this is the person we want to pick. But I heard that there are sometimes, especially when I think he handed him the award, a Greek award. At the end of the season, he handed him a Greek award that was held in Greece, and knowing that both men are from the same nation and they are both same nationalities, you could expect that maybe we could bring in this person, and
maybe his European pedigree last season also
someone
played.
Who says that he knows how to win trophies in the second season. So maybe
wait to the second.
No, you can't wait. I mean, like
wait to relegation.
Honestly, what they're battling,
you win the championship next season.
What they're battling right now is relegation, and I already knew that it was coming for him. I mean, at halftime, Marinakis left his director's box, and you already knew that something was going to happen. And 10 minutes after full-time results, I think he spent about, after the full-time results, he spent about maybe 4 minutes applauding the crowd that came and those that were still left in the stadium, because at the point, a few people had left. And then just maybe 5 minutes after he did all of those things, then it was told by the chief of football, I can't remember his name right now, that he has been relieved of his duties. So I'm not even sure he had the opportunities to address his players.
From a video I saw from one of the reporters, Margie, the reporters that day, she mentioned that he had addressed the players for like 5 minutes, and then there was a call that there was an emergency meeting upstairs in the boardroom upstairs for all the players to come. And I mean, when he was going there, he was met by the owner in the tunnel and told that he was not going to be part of the meeting. So he was told. Then the next thing she said was, he was seen where he carried his backpack to the car park. So they didn't even allow him to do anything. Just the addressing of the players in the dressing room immediately after the game. I think 5 minutes, and then where he was talking about, because she said one of the players that came to the mix zone after the game.
I think that's Morgan Gibbs White.
that was Gibbs White. Gibbs White was saying that the coach just said that he doesn't understand why they're playing well. They're understanding what he's expecting them to do, but they can't just finish up in the final third.
That's true, because in the first half they could have
hot Chelsea and they couldn't finish in the final third. And he said he believed that results will come with time, but that was never to be seen, because minutes later he had to go to he was sent to I said something, they didn't even allow him to carry his bag. They only allow him to carry backpack, not allow him to carry a box, carry a box come out. And that's how his tenure at Nottingham Forest is done. Now let's move to, quickly because of our time, let's move to the next person that we are almost sure is coming to the club. Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche is the person that would be able to translate tactics and everything into those set of players, because right now there's nothing he can do until January transfer window. January transfer window also, I don't think a lot of managers get to do much until the summer.
They can't even spend more because they've already spent over 200 million
during
in the summer.
So do you think that Sean Dyche is the person that can fix this Nottingham Forest team and save them for relegation at least?
I think he can. Sean Dyche is not a manager that has built a reputation on spending. I think this would be, if he goes to Nottingham Forest, it would be a club where he has the opportunity to spend money if given the chance. But I don't think he's built that reputation on spending. Look at his previous jobs. He was at Burnley for how many years?
And then
Burnley not to spend too much money and all that. Everton as well, not known to spend too much money, except in recent times where they've been able to splash the cash. They've got a new stadium now, but and he's got the experience. He's got Premier League experience. Talking about Sean Dyche, and he's got.
I'm thinking of the ball we are going to watch.
They call him the Ginger Mourinho, so he's gonna be that.
That's what I'm thinking.
He's gonna be that. But he's got that aura about him, that presence. From the way he speaks. I don't know. The way he commands himself, okay, someone is here, someone is speaking.
Exactly.
It's stark contrast to Ange Postecoglou. He doesn't exude that confidence, and it's looking like a wrong decision now to also let Nuno go, because I feel these players are still yet not playing for Ange. I don't know. There's just that disconnect. If you look at the whole thing, Morgan Gibbs White is not putting so much effort. Now he's the captain of the side. He's not putting so much effort as well, and. Cut him some slack. Yes, new manager still trying to find the team, but there's been so many chop and change here and there. I was surprised to see Awoni starts on Saturday.
I was also surprised
against Chelsea as well. So I don't know. Chris Wood is a regular striker. Maybe he's not fit enough this time around. But there's been so many changes. Still trying to find which 11 is his first 11 and stuff like that. But letting Nuno go is always going to be a wrong decision. You could tell that these players, I'm not sure they are aware of his sacking as well. I don't know if it's a rule or it's something the club owner should have done, letting players know that, okay, we want to let this manager go. But sometimes you have to make some players aware, I don't think it's something it came as a shock to most of them from the look of things, the way I can see things. But it's a wrong decision in the end. It's been a disaster. I don't think I can remember any manager who's had a worse start to a tenure like Ange for Nottingham Forest, like we saw.
8 games, 20 goals conceded.
It's a terrible start. It's a sackable offense.
He conceded 11 from set pieces.
And it's been happening from his sports days as well. Defending set pieces has always been.
And then every time they keep asking him at press conferences, he keeps saying that there's nothing to worry about. But you keep conceding, since in his 2 tenures with Spurs and with Nottingham Forest, just his short stint, he's considered the most from set pieces. And you have met, how many managers you have met in that in the league itself, and just 2 tenures at Spurs, one in one, maybe just 5. How many games? Yes, 5 in the Premier League with Nottingham Forest, and you have considered almost 50 from set pieces. That's like too terrible for you as a manager.
And I think there's something I remember from his first season at Nottingham Forest. I think he's
Spurs.
From Spurs. Sorry, he's I think among his first 3 games was against Chelsea. One of his first 3 games was against Chelsea. Chelsea were very terrible on that Pochettino that season. At that point in time, was it 4? No, it was. I think it was 6-3 or something, where Jackson had a hat trick.
Oh yeah. Yes,
and then from that game, I already knew that this guy was going to be a disaster for him in the Premier League. Went on to scale that season a bit. The next one was terrible. They were just saved
3 points away from relegation.
17.
This is not Celtic.
As terrible as Jackson was that first season, Jackson improved in the second season, but that's terrible. Jackson was always getting a hold of his high line. Like, why would you play a high line Against,
that was indiscipline.
That was almost so much indiscipline for me.
And then I think they got a red card in that game.
Yes,
and
they
then
got a
still
red
decided
card.
that was
And that's what I said. That highlight.
man shot.
increase the intensity of
It could have been more than the goals Chelsea scored in the end.
That is it.
So that's the kind of a manager he is. He's been a disaster for Nottingham Forest. It's the Premier League. You get found out eventually. I don't want to say if that's too early for an slot because it's looking like teams on the.
We'll talk about.
But you know, that's why I'm just trying to hold on to that. But you know, this is not the Scottish Premiership. You know, if you do mistake at Celtic, you get away with it because I mean, he was fantastic.
Yeah, and then I think it's like a
Celtic Rangers
legged race.
Yes, in the Scottish Premiership. So I mean, deserved sack in the end. I don't see a manager with such results keeping a hold of his job, and I hope this time they will get it right. Like you said, you couldn't find the reason why Ange was given the job. You also said it in your analysis. Maybe because they are Greek, they are compatriots as well. So maybe he felt okay. Let's just and you're coming off the back of winning a trophy because sometimes when you look at it, managers cherish trophies as well, not just results. Owners cherish trophies, not just results. So winning the Europa League, a historic one at that with Spurs, I think he puts him in a good position to get the next job, and he got the job, but he just couldn't handle it in the very end.
And then I think for this moment, I think Marinakis should try to let the attention on him get off. Let the players take the attention. Let the coach take the attention because as it is now, it just look like for every game you're always pulling out one drama. You're leaving your director's box. You're coming to the sidelines.
In fact, there was something after.
I think it's one thing Sean Dyche is going to put a stop to.
I think after the game, I was seeing reports that there was report that he might even be the interim manager. Like the guy just like floodlights.
He needs to reduce the attention at this point.
Especially
with the position they had now. I think for the next
for them to be able
games,
to
let
get
the players and the
together.
coaches have their time together.
Definitely. Hoping that he listens or watches the show. Someone to send him this link.
He will see it.
So let's move on to another team that's currently in a disaster phase, and I'm talking about another team in red, Liverpool. Anfield yesterday hosted the game of the top two rivals of the Premier League, both 20-time champions of the top flight league, and it was Liverpool versus Manchester United. Both team in disarray, if you ask me, because two of them have not really been in good form before they came into this game yesterday. Now, while Liverpool has lost 3 on the bounce, Manchester United before yesterday have not won back-to-back games under Ruben Amorim. That was the first time that Ruben Amorim will be winning back-to-back games as the manager of Manchester United. So, yes, two of the two.
What's the name of this guy? I'm trying to remember. The guy that kept his hair.
Yeah, someone said 3 to go. I remember that. Yeah, so that's
hope renewed.
Renewed up 2025 from last week. Now, Liverpool have lost 4 consecutive games, 3 in the Premier League, 1 in the Champions League. Now, the question is, based on what you said, has an slot been found out? Because before this back-to-back losses, Liverpool always found a way to sneak results in the dying minutes of a game. 4 straight back-to-back wins from late minute goals. Now there's a saying on Twitter right now that you kill. Also, you kill with late goal, you die with late goals. Has it been found out right now?
First off, before going to that question of being found out, one thing people don't see. I know results is the ultimate.
Yeah.
Performance haven't been that. It's not been up there, but it hasn't been that bad. There are phases in game where, a loss of concentration can just switch everything, can just flip everything. Credit to Harry Maguire. I love the way he's turned things around. But in that instance, there was just loss of concentration. I'm still coming back to the question because now it seems for Arne Slot, a lot has been happening. Yes, he comes out to say, there are a lot of players that have been signed and all that disruption in the team flow, in the team pattern.
Who signed them? Is it me?
No.
I'm understanding. Suddenly, players.
Now, I think you sign players. I think he also needs to develop the balls to make some certain calls. Because as a footballer, you are looking at a team, a lot of things are not happening. You need to make changes. You need to, heads needs to roll. Some players need to be punished for not living up to expectations so far. Yes, I know some players are in quotes bigger and all
Mention
that.
names. I don't.
No,
want
I'm coming there.
Okay.
He needs to develop the balls to make some certain changes. Now, you've been losing games before the international break. You had 2 weeks to look at this team and fix the issue, see where the problem is, and make some changes. Now, after the international break, you're playing at home. You decided not to make any change. You maintained same lineup to prosecute that game against United. Fine, the performance was good. Missed a whole lot of chances. The woodwork, saved United so many times. But that United, they don't care. Many times at Anfield, this has been happening in the last few seasons. United come to Anfield, they get dominated, but at the end of the day, they go back with a good result. This time, even better than the previous time. Now they went back with 3 points. 2 minutes, Mbeumo scored that goal. Fine, we could have said the referee could have put a stop to that game because it was a head injury. But what was that defending? What was that defensive structure? What was that shape behind that goal?
The issue I have with
it's
that
a
goal.
lot of loss of concentration.
The issue I have with that goal. I know that conversation can arise with the fact that McAllister was down because it was an head injury. But if you go back to watch the goal, Mbeumo was down. Just 2 minutes when the ball was in transition, and it was still
exactly what I was about to say. So you need to stay switched on every time. Sometimes when you feel you are indispensable in a team, complacency sets in. And I think it is happening to some couple of players.
Who are you cooking?
Is
that Van Dijk? Is that Van Dijk you are cooking?
There's Van Dijk. There's Mo Salah.
Wow, Emmanuel is cooking Van Dijk.
At times you need to in some games.
I'm surprised you are cooking Van Dijk.
He's been magnificent for Liverpool. He's served the club very well during his time.
One of the
best defenders in his generation. I know the OGs will disagree. Like but in his generation, one of the best. But sometimes when you feel you're indispensable, complacency setting, like you mentioned, Mbeumo was down, he stood back up, he continued that run. You left him. I don't know if sometimes when you try to keep an attacker offside, you don't do that all the time. Attack the situation at the moment. Don't try and do too much reading in the game and you end up getting punished. It was a clear run at goal and an easy finish in the end. Fine, like you said, the discussion can be around the referees putting a stop. I felt he could have stopped the play because it was a head injury. But even at that, he played to the whistle. That's what they always tell us. If you play street ball, play to whistle. If referee never blow for you, continue with the game.
Exactly. I think that's also what happened with Remo Stars.
The referee never blow. Carry on with the game. Then if it goes out of play or it blows, then you can go on. He was just there, and Mbeumo had that easy run pass through, and eventually it goes to get on. Teams have been capitalizing on fullbacks, and that's because when you play as a fullback, in some instance, if not most, you need your wingers on the flank to also aid defensively as well. Salah doesn't do that. He doesn't have the legs anymore, and teams are overloading that right back. Chelsea did it. Cucurella had so much joy down that left hand side of his attack. The same thing again for United yesterday. The fullbacks were bumping down the flanks as well. Gakpo he's got the legs, but I don't know if it's an instruction for him not to help with some defensive duties as well. But I'm typically talking about Mo Salah now, because sometimes when you're scoring the goals like last season, whatever you do, you get the goals. Even if you're not in game, you win a penalty, you take the ball, you score. Even if you're having a shit game, you've gotten on the score sheet, you've added to your record and all that. But now you're not scoring. You can't beat your man. You can't dribble. You are not creating, and you get the chance. You don't play your teammates in. It's disastrous if you look at it.
Yeah.
But if you're in form, you're doing that, we can excuse you. But right now you are in a poor run. You are not doing anything with the team. You're not defending, and still you'll be put through on goal. You have a man in a better position to score. This has been happening countless games. Yes, we know sometimes you can excuse the selfishness from attackers, but there are some times when you look back at it, it could be detrimental to the team. It could have been that moment where things can turn around. Several instances where to freeze Isak or whoever is playing the attack, free in the box. All you needed to do was to just lay it through on a plate for the attacker to score. But Mo Salah, he wants to go on alone. I'm not trying to shit on him on what he's done, but so far in this poor run for Liverpool, he's not helped things when it comes to that flank, supporting the defense as well. And again, the build-up. I know I've talked about how I was very angry with Trent for leaving, but we are now seeing how he aids Liverpool when it comes to build up.
Yeah.
This is a guy, I know a lot has been said about his defensive ability, but this is one of the best passers in the Premier League. You know,
I mean, right now, a lot of people are taking back their words for that defensive, because as bad as you talk about
now, it feels like you can even take his defensive flaws and bring in his creativity as well. You know, so we miss a lot when it comes to build up. The build up, the structure from the back is nothing to write home about. And I think this is the time Slot needs to decide who he wants to build the team around. We talk about Florian Wirtz. Yes, he's not getting the numbers. The banter 07 from 07. They say it's not the Ben 10. You saw that. No, it's not the, but this is a guy. You don't have to do this, man. You don't have to do this. But when it comes to chances created, he's up there in the Premier League. It's just that he's not being converted enough. Like he's when he came on against United, yes, he had a decent game. I was really watching that game again when I got home from the Remo game. I had to watch it again and see he had a good cameo, creating those chances. But for some reasons, he's not being converted. So I think he's one player the team Slots can build a team on. Mo Salah needs to know, okay, this is no longer your team. It doesn't take anything away from what you've done. It doesn't take away, all your achievements with the club as well. But Slot needs to decide, okay, he needs to take him off in some games. He needs to sub him. He did it in the game yesterday because he was having a poor game, not the first time this season. So he needs to decide where he wants to build the team on. I'm not worried. The good thing is that they're still fifth on the log, 3 points, if I'm not mistaken, below us now, who are top of the log. So things might not be as disastrous as people make it, but he also needs to realize that he's not managing Feyenoord. You're managing a Liverpool Football Club, defending champions. This small manager mentality is still
defending champions. Don't be win the league.
But there's this talk about. I mean, he won it with club team, and if you look at it, that's true. Majority of the players are players, signed by Jurgen Klopp as well. So there
was that chemistry.
There was that chemistry there. Now there's a disruption. Now you've assembled your whole team. About 4 or 5 players that won the league have left the club. Now you've assembled your whole team. So doubts now are beginning to come in. And when you come out presser, some of the things he says sometimes I find it bemusing as well. You're not managing a small club. You're managing Liverpool. It's a big club. So that you need to stay switched on to that mentality that you're managing a club as big as Liverpool Football Club. So there are some things you shouldn't say. There are ways you shouldn't handle pressers. It was all rosy when you were winning. Now things are changing. Now results are not going your way, and we are seeing now how the pressure now on the manager as well. So I'm not worried as a Liverpool fan. I'm not going to say sack and a Slot right now. No, I'm not going to. Because I've seen some Liverpool fans now calling for him to be sacked, because I mean Liverpool are not known for a club that sack managers like the Chelseas, the Forest and the likes. They give you time to turn things around. But if he continues going this way, I think let's match week 8 now, right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So maybe get to 14, 15 and things doesn't turn around. I won't be surprised if he gets sacked from the job. But right now I won't call for his sack. I'm not worried. Still in a good position in the table, still early days in the league, but things needs to change quickly. Results needs to change. I'm just so sad that after the international break, still same of same. And like I said, the last time I was on the show, I mentioned that Liverpool sometimes like gifting teams. If you have a record you want to achieve and you face Liverpool, there's every tendency that they will give you that record on the plate. United haven't won back-to-back games. You came to Anfield and you picked against all the odds, you picked up 3 points. So that's the story of how it's been so far. So but things needs to turn around quickly.
I think I want to talk about this matter, and I want to talk about the negative and the positive. Firstly, on the negative, maybe not too positive, but negative side, I know for me also there's not much worry, but the worry is that Liverpool have not had this as bad as you can say. Okay, Liverpool have been they did not win the league so many times. Okay, because of the Man City dominance. But the last time Liverpool lost 4 games on a row was in 2014. So it shows that there is something that you need to begin to think about. Even if, like we say, maybe looking at them on the table, even in the Champions League, it doesn't really tell in much. If you are just 3 points behind the league leaders, then maybe you should not worry. And the positive side for me, maybe not positive like I just said, was aside the game against Crystal Palace, maybe the one against Chelsea. Most times big games, it can tilt to anyone.
Any part,
the one against Liverpool, the one against Manchester United also, I would have expected it to tilt towards. Although most people,
because last season something happened last season that someone was pointing to, said Van Dijk scoring yesterday's winner, it could have been back-to-back winners for him at Anfield. Remember that last season, Liverpool had to get an equalizer to save them. It was 2-2. It ended 2-2 at Anfield last season. And Van Dijk scored the second goal that gave Man United the lead, first of all, before they got a penalty, before Liverpool got a penalty. So it would have been back-to-back wins with back-to-back winners for Maguire at the Anfield. But they were saved the last time.
There was one chance last season where Maguire almost, it could have been the winner.
I'm saying, like back-to-back winners for him. So it's for big teams, as you were saying, it's true that it can tilt either way.
Exactly.
Because there's a different aura when you play big teams.
That's where I'm going. I can pardon, maybe aside the Crystal Palace one, and when you even look at Crystal Palace
at that run now, then
even the run is still on.
But it was that broken at a point. They were 19 games unbeaten when they faced. It was 18 before Liverpool, and then so there's been a disruption.
You can pardon, maybe aside the Crystal Palace one, say because of the kind of team Crystal Palace is, but you can still forgive. And the one against Galatasaray, if you lose on penalties, okay, maybe you could have done better. But still, I still want to link all of it to the fact that I said earlier that they've not lost 4 games. This is the most poor run of result they've had since 2014. And if you look at so many years they've had since Jurgen Klopp years, Kenny Dalglish, and then now to Arne Slot himself. If you have not lost 4 games in a row since 2014, then it means that you should somehow panic. At the same way, if you look at the teams they've lost these games to, you should really not give them the stick, considering that in fact they're still just, they can play next week now. They go back to the top of the table, maybe
depending on Arsenal plays.
Yeah, exactly. In 2 weeks' time, Liverpool could be back on the top of the table.
And all of this conversation.
So we should not really give them that so much stick. Although Banta no send, but still, in terms of analysis, we should let people know that it's really not something that is too difficult to handle. And like Emmanuel said, I don't think there's any conversation of sack right now.
Okay.
But I think it still needs to fix a team because this is their poor result. This is the most poor run of result they've had since 2014. So that should stick in his mind.
The worry should just be that there should be concentrations in key moments in games because you don't. It's been happening now. Late goals, early goals. You talked about Galatasaray. It was an early penalty. Victor Osimhen converted. The game against Chelsea as well. Late goal, Esteval. You could see in that Chelsea game, Robertson, who came on, the Chelsea was on the attack. He was close to Esteval. He was holding his knees like he was panting, and the ball was still on. Esteval was behind. So that switch can just. It was terrible. I spotted it. It was when you're not tired. And Chelsea they were on the attack.
You were actually pressing.
You were pressing and you were putting your hands on your knees like you were panting, and there's a Chelsea player looking behind. He ran behind you and scored. So those moments in the Crystal Palace game, the same thing as well. Second balls, and set piece. We have one of the tallest squad in the Premier League. There's no set piece coach currently now in Liverpool. It might not be a big issue. Or a big issue.
It's a big issue. But sometimes the fact that right now that's what teams
those things count.
Using
teams
right
are using it a lot. So so many. Look at the game against Crystal Palace. The second balls as well. The young chap Ngomoha, I don't know how he was up against Huyts for that final header before the second ball fell to Nketiah, who scored for Crystal Palace. The same thing against United. Just one ball for Fernandes, aerial balls as well from a corner, second balls. So that is the only worry for me. Performance-wise, the team is creating chances to score. On another day, those chances might have gone in, and the result might be a different scenario.
Because of time, we will not want to dwell on that finishing, that final third where you talk about the two strikers. Can you keep both happy? Maybe we'll talk about that after your next game.
I also have my thoughts on that as well.
We'll talk about that after your next game.
And also they need to cut down on the way I think almost every game Liverpool have played this season they've conceded. If not all, almost every game.
And
for a big team, you need to
cut it out. Burnley, it was only Burnley.
You need to cut that out. You don't concede as a for a club like Liverpool for most games as well. So the worry is in this key situations, key phases in game. But in terms of performance, I'm not worried. The team is still creating chances, but talking about the new signings, maybe for some other time we'll keep our fingers crossed on that one.
Anyways, coming from a Chelsea fan in red, I like the fact that they're conceding, because that's my 15 goal. This thing is always out for me. I'm always looking up to every team that wants to actually beat that record. Arsenal is looking good right now. They will nothing will happen. Don't worry. I'll remind you.
How many have
3 goals. 3. This
They
season.
possessed one from open play.
Yeah, 3 goals this season.
They'll do it, don't
They
worry.
will not see it happen. Don't worry. That time is coming. I'll remind you.
But that's a good record. You know?
But really good record, and also really good what Arsenal has been doing this season. People are complaining that they are using their set piece to win games. What do you expect them to use?
I don't know why people get to complain when if you find a tactic that works for you, and that is what you want to use to win. I mean, the point is to win, and it doesn't take away the fact that Arsenal still play beautiful football.
Yeah.
But when I play against you, you are playing a low block. And the way I can penetrate through you is by getting corners, and I can score corners very well. Why should I not? I mean, if that is what you want to do, we see Brentford. Brentford have scored since what's the name of the manager? And I'm trying to remember his name. It was a former set piece coach. He's the main coach now. I can't remember
Andrews
his name.
or something.
Kent Andrews. Yeah, it was a former set piece coach. Now that he has taken over as the coach, you can see Brentford, for every throwing that Brentford gets into the opponent's half, it's almost going to be a long throw. It's not a case of let's just throw, let's quickly play. I mean, you know that you would hurt teams with that. They did it to Manchester United, they did it to Fulham, they've done it to so many teams since he took over. So if you find something that works for you in winning a team, the point is to win. So when you, I don't know, but people, I know that you can feel hard done by that. Okay, maybe you have defended well, and then all that you do is concede via a set piece. But set pieces
you
are
go
part
and
of the game.
learn how to defend set piece.
Exactly.
You need to learn how to defend and also be good at it as well.
Yes.
Defending your goal and scoring from
it. That's what Arsenal has been doing so far, and it's working for them.
And
Top
even
of
the
the
Arsenal,
log. Yeah.
I remember a few towards the end of last season, maybe about 7 games. As much as they were good on the offensive side, they became bad on the defensive side. So even the Arsenal themselves, it's not like they've not been
found out
on the part of defensive corners or defensive free kicks. So if they can concede from set pieces, if they say they can score some set pieces, let them also score from set pieces as well.
Let them score. And I mean, I want to hear what you've been saying on the streets. But before we do that, let's quickly go on this break. When we come back, I want to talk about certain tweets that caught my eye this week, and then we'll talk about it in relating to other footballing topics on the show today. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's still the Gliders, and I mean, it's been a very interesting couple of minutes on the show. We've talked a lot about club football, and this time around I want to see what you're also talking about when it concerns sports, football on the street. Really interesting tweets that I'll be showing on your screen right now, and I mean, I'll tell you what I feel, and the guys also tell you what we feel concerning that. Now, Remo Stars lost yesterday by 5-1 at home in Abeokuta to Sundowns, and Hakim Oni Tolo is saying that a player earning 500,000 monthly and one earning $4,000 monthly won't likely perform equally. So a team averaging 500 per month salary shouldn't be expected to beat a team averaging $4,000. Talents being equal, players' quality of life directly affect their performance, and this is coming from a player who is played football on a semi-professional level, as we see him week in, week out. And I mean, that is something that's we would like to also talk about, because the owner of Remo Stars also points on that before this game earlier on this season. Mike the Pundit is saying, I just woke up. We know Sabi play ball for MPFL. I beg. I go the report in our league, but make we just they manage our quality locally. Make una no vex, because come see ball yesterday, Oriming Bono.
My head they hot.
Any other MPFL team would hold the same score line, and that's me being modest. Still talking about that game in Abeokuta. Now, another tweet from this time around is from C Mo BK, who is saying, come to the league. We have the boys that have talent and passion to play in the Super Eagles. Here's another proof of that's a fallacy. MPFL is your king. Is this your king? Do you have the talented boys? Yes, but they are nowhere groomed and developed enough for the level of football. There's so much work to be done. NFF save our football. Still coming from the backlog of that game in Abeokuta, with Remo Stars losing at home by 1 goal to 5, if you put it in the scoreline. Now, this is a okay. Now, so there's a quoted tweet, but the main tweet is from Sand soccer legend Abu Aziz, who said, first day I watched that guy play at Onikon Stadium, I just did provoke. And then Toby quoted him saying, "Legend Ori Yekpe." Yeah, that's legend on the sand. I don't want to use that word, but he said, "Mention the name if they burn you well." Now this looks like a coded thing, but I'm very sure that a lot of people understand who he's talking about. I'll ask guys if they know who he's talking about here, and let's talk about that. Now, this is a tweet from Joy Abena Ojabla. I don't know who that is. And then she said, if Morocco hack you people on the continental level, both genders, you guys would beg and nobody will come to save you. As for now, make you just the play ball they go. And then she quoted herself again and said, I'm talking about senior national team football, by the way, because their 8th grade teams have already started that dominance. And that's coming from the back of Morocco becoming the 2nd African team to win the Under-20 World Cup just after Ghana did it. They came the 2nd this morning when they defeated Argentina by 2-0. We couldn't do it against Argentina. Morocco has done it. And yes, they are currently the Under-20 champions. And I talked about the fact that I said, oh, sorry, I've already said that is me. I denied that. I've been found out. Like,
you can't deny yourself. So.
I've been found out. But anybody that's asking the reason I'm bearing a banner, that's another talking point, but I don't think we'll have time to talk about it on the show. As the World Cup is drawing closer, you guys will understand why I use that. So Abena is a Ghanaian name, and the last 1 week we've seen a lot of players of Ghanaian descent coming out to say they love Ghana, they love eggs. Egg is their favorite protein. They want to play for the national team, and I'm like, no, we don't complete. Don't come. And then I was talking about the fact that Mikel Obi, as much as we dragged him on a particular podcast episode where he talked about players picking their second team, which are mostly African teams. That there was something was onto because of the way that we've seen a lot of Ghanaian players of Ghanaian descent, not Ghanaian players of Ghanaian descent coming out after Ghana got the World Cup ticket. Yeah. So I'm defending Ghana. We've not gotten our World Cup ticket yet. We might not get it. So I mean, I'm standing behind my Ghanaian brothers. We don't complete. Anybody that was not for us when we were hustling, they should not done. So yes, that is it. So guys, let's quickly touch on the Remo Stars issue. Remo Stars look to be up and out of contention for the group stage of the CAF Champions League because
set and confirmed.
Game set match.
Just take this part and send it to the appropriate person. Yes, what to send it to.
Remo Stars will need to score 6 goals and concede none if they want to make it into the group stage of the Champions League, which looks like a very, very tall order. Based on the football that me, Joy Ojablu, traveled to Abektas to watch. Joy Abena Ojablu went to see. Now, guys, we all saw the game. 2 of us saw it in the stadium. You saw it on TV. What is this difference in gulf of talent? We always complaining about North Africans because that's the people that they are always putting us against. Now, we faced South Africans yesterday and the gulf in talent was so evident yesterday. Emmanuel, what is your assessment of that game, first of all, because you were on commentaries for the game?
Remo Stars outplayed, outclassed,
outnumbered,
destroyed, whitewashed.
Jesus.
Even though I didn't see that scoreline coming, but
I mean, we didn't all see that scoreline. Did you see that?
I didn't expect Remo to win, but losing by 5-1, it could have been more.
Yeah.
Obasa made some
very good
decent saves in that game. So we are talking about 5-1 here, and here's me saying it could have been more.
Based on stats, confirmed stats, is that Remo Stars is the first Nigerian team in CAF competitions to lose by that margin at home.
Yes. Yeah. And South African teams, they've been struggling. If you check out this, talking about Stars as well, when it comes to CAF competitions, to get results in Nigeria. When it comes to CAF games and all that. I think Mamelodi Sundowns one time they came to
Eyimba, beat them 2-1.
Did the job against them. That was in the group stage proper, not in the preliminary round. So, Mamelodi Sundowns, one of the biggest teams in Africa, has been on the up. They've won this competition before as well. It was surprising to see such team in the preliminary rounds. These are teams you expect to be in straight to the group stage proper, even though they were given a bye in the first round.
Yes, in the first
so
round.
They had to wait for Remo Stars to play the first preliminary round and all that. I don't know how CAF is going to do that, but there are some teams that shouldn't be playing in the preliminary rounds, just playing the group stages and all that. But it was always going to be a tough game for Remo Stars. Before the game, they were trying to deflect from the fact that it's not their biggest game yet. It is your biggest game since the club inception. I don't know how they want to say it, how they want to put it. They've never faced a team like Mamelodi Sundowns. They've never been in the second preliminary round of the CAF Champions League.
This is their first time.
They've never won the MPFL. So this is the first time they will go into this competition as champions. So it is your biggest game. So I get why they are deflecting from that, not to put so much pressure on the players.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, you could tell the golfing class so different from the very get-go. There are some games you see, there are some teams you see, and you've been defeated mentally. From the onset, you're mentally defeated. You're just going onto the pitch to play the football game and to give your best. I was sad the stadium wasn't filled to the brim, despite the fact that it was thrown open, maybe because it's Abeokuta, it's not Ikene and stuff like that. So I was sad about that. But when it comes to the game itself, I mean, it was a total annihilation of Remo Stars. That South African team, well experienced national team players, not just South Africa. They've got a Chilean in that squad. They've got 2 Portuguese in that squad. Their coach is also a Portuguese coach who's done it with it in top flight football in Portugal. He's coached in Spain.
In La Liga
he's coached in Portugal. He's got record achievements. I think the club was Rio Ave in Portugal. A small Portuguese club, gave them the highest point finish in the Portuguese top flight as well. Went to Celta Vigo in La Liga as well. So he's got the experience. And this is a manager. I was speaking to him pre-match. He didn't want to do the pre-match presser. He said he needs to be with his players, but I had to, the way I approached him, I had to do this for TV. But he didn't just say, okay, just one question. I need to go be my players. So professional to the core as well. He knows his job. It's just, approaching his first year in the tenure with Mamelodi Sundowns. So this is a team that is well groomed. There was no situation in that game where you could say, in the build up to this game, people were saying Mamelodi Sundowns, CAF president get the team. They go on to. It was a fair destruction of Remo Stars from the goalkeeping position down on the faces of play. The way they moved the ball around, they were like they beat Remo Stars press with ease. First 5-10 minutes of the game, Remo Stars coming all out, applying pressure on the Mamelodi Sundowns defense, but it's like they were comfortable playing the ball to Rowan Williams, the goalkeeper. His distribution was impeccable on the day.
Got the assist for the second goal, by the way.
And before the assist, his distribution was well on point. Playing those balls, and at times, not every time he's hitting them long. The few times he hit them long, one of them resulted in an assist. Resulted in a goal rather. So sometimes he looks at the shape, looks at his players, he knows where they are, he knows the position they are, and plays those balls so nice. So they were comfortable playing the ball back to him. Remo Stars, I credited them for the press, but it was beaten so easy by the Mamelodi Sundowns player. And this is a team in that starting lineup. They had about 3 or 4 players who played for South Africa in the last international break.
Yes.
There's Mudal, the right back. There's Rowan Williams, of course, the reigning CAF goalkeeper of the year, and the second player of the year as well. So the experience is there. There's Aurelio Modiba as well, the right back. Of course, there's Mokoena as well, who we all know. The center of the controversy with the Super Eagles and all that. So the Shalulile, the Namibian as well. They've also missed some key players. That's one of the surprising things for me. They've missed key players in that game. The captain was injured, couldn't play the game. Reyners, their top goal scorer, also was missing, but Shalulile did the job. They had their record signing on the bench. Started on the bench, came off the bench to score, was a Brazilian, playing for the Brazilians. They call the Brazilians as well. So it was a total dominance. The Remo Stars dominated on the pitch as well. So there was no way you could look at it and say Mamelodi Sundowns not deserving of this result. You might want to be professional and say it's possible, nothing is impossible. Remo Stars can turn this around. It is clearly impossible. They are out, and it might just be more when they go to South Africa to play the reverse fixture, because when you go there with a 5-1 scoreline in your head, and there's away goals rules in CAF competition. So on commentary, when they scored one, I said, okay, this goal might be crucial, not knowing that they could go on to score 4 more to make it 5, which could have also been more at the end of the day. So credit to Remo Stars. They showed great fight, showed great desire. At least they gave the fans something to celebrate when
because
Samson came off the bench to score.
That goal that made it 4-1, the fans jubilated as if it was
even I couldn't have my bias.
Remember when Nigeria played Tahiti in the
I couldn't have my bias on commentaries. I had to call the goal nicely. At least there's something for Remo to celebrate. And the fact that he was close before he scored, he hit the crossbar before he scored that goal, Samson Olasupo. So the class, the qualities. This is a team that have over 10 CAF accredited stadium in South Africa. We are struggling with just one here in Nigeria. So when you look at it across board, They are miles ahead of us. Miles ahead. Do you want to go to finance? The way that team is being funded.
I mean, one of the tweets we saw,
whichever way you look at it, in terms of quality, infrastructure, coaching, football development, they are well ahead of us. So I don't know how long it's going to take for us to get to this level. I don't know if I'll be patient enough, if it will be my lifetime. But I'm positive. I'm hoping that it's happening in the near future. But the quality was so big, and I mean, it's something we can learn from and hopefully turn things around.
Now, talking about experience, that's where I'm going to pick it and give it to Timothy. Remo Stars team that played yesterday were a totally different side that played I think 3 CAF competitions before this one. This is the 4th time they are qualifying on a bounce. And if you look at this team, it's totally different. Totally different. We just had 2 players, or I think 1 player from that set, which is the captain of the side, Adedayo, and then the person that joined them last season in Obasa, and then we had the player that was promoted from Beyond Limit 2 seasons ago in Ahmed Akeli. So those are the 3 players you can even say from last season. Now every other person is new. Do you think that in the experience costs Remo Stars to lose by this? I know everybody said they were going to lose, but lose by that margin? Because for me, I think that's some of those goals were goals that should have not been considered by, if it was the Remo Stars of the previous era, because this is a new era, this is a rebuilding phase for them. Do you think even experience cost them, or it just felt like even if they had all the experienced players they used to have, they would have also gotten that scoreline?
I like the angle you asked me the question, because boiling in my mind is the fact that I know that everybody, the result there's no way I can justify the result, or there's no way anyone can justify the result. But I think we are being too carried away with the quality is too much, and we feel like in results, or we have not seen games where teams have lost on this scoreline. That said, it doesn't mean that when teams lose on this quality, we have not come out to eat them out. Just recently, we watched Paris Saint-Germain trash Inter Milan 5-0. It did not mean that the quality of the football that they play in the Serie A is bad. I'm not saying that our quality is good, because people will be watching now and then they'll try to misinterpret things. So let me make this clarity. I understand our football is bad, but we have watched football games where we have seen it just happens. I mean, they could go to South Africa next week and South Africa just even struggles to score 1 goal.
Or
it's
even
possible.
Play out a goalless draw.
It's possible. And they will now wonder that, why is this team that lost 5-1 at home, why did they go to South Africa and lose? And I would also support the fact that if they had a majority of the players that played the one against I think they played FA Rabat and the Medema game, they could have maybe I expected them to lose, but I did not expect them to lose about 5-1. I felt maybe a 2-1 scoreline, maybe 1-0 or even 1-1, but 5-1 would never be justified. That said, I felt that if they had players from the likes of Unduka, the likes of Dayo Ojo and all of those players, it would have been really it would have been a different case. They could have still lost, but I don't think it would be this heavy. So I can pardon the fact that this is a new team. I mean, this is like throwing people right under the bus. Of course, the players knew that they had to do a job, but look at this South African team. Look at Mamelodi Sundowns. The players, right from Mudal to Mukena, like Emmanuel have mentioned all of them, they played at the Club World Cup just 2 or 3 months ago.
Yes.
They lost. They could not qualify based on, I think, 1 point or even goal difference.
Yeah.
So it shows you how much they've been together for so long. They've played together for so many times, and you would not expect that Remo Stars would have defeated them. But I would still have expected the play to be better. But I don't want us to be carried away with the euphoria of the gulf in quality is too much, and that's why we lost. Remo Stars played ASF Rabat. They went to Morocco. I mean, ASF Rabat is a big team. The quality with ASF Rabat and Remo Stars is the same statement. I can put the statements as people are beginning to put it that the quality is a lot and all that. Rabat and Remo Stars are never on the same level in terms of quality. They went to Morocco. They picked up a point. They played 1-1. Sorry, not a point. They came back to Ikene.
And you lost at home.
Yeah, 1-0. I know. I'm not saying that's what I'm saying.
So I still think the quality is still
Emmanuel, what I'm saying is,
but you're trying to say you're not trying to say you're getting carried away that the quality is big.
Yeah, we are getting carried away.
It is big.
Yeah, we are getting carried away. It is a result. Let us focus, like we do say, let us analyze these results. we can later talk about. We have always talked before Remo Stars lost 5-1. If we go back to 3 of our last episodes on the Gliders, we would have talked about the fact that Nigerian football is bad. Yes, I'm that's not lying. We can go back to our episode. We would have talked about.
I mean, we talked about the Chan.
If we go back to 7 episodes, we would have talked about the fact that Nigerian football is bad. So we have always talked about the fact that our football is not developing, infrastructures is bad, our players are probably not growing, and all of those things. And the
ones that are good enough are leaving.
Exactly, but I still want us to just take this result as okay. It's the fact that Remo Stars lost, and like I stated in the beginning, I'm not justifying. There's no way I can justify a 5-1 loss. And like I did say, I would not have expected that they would have even lost this way. But I feel like we should take it easy. Our football has always been bad. Before Remo Stars lost 5-1, our football may still be bad, even if Remo Stars win the Champions League next year. So let's just take it easy and see, okay, they've lost the game. And like I did say, they could go to South Africa next week. If they pick up maybe a draw, would we not still say I'm not that people will still say, okay, they tried their best and all of those things, but still our results, our league is not growing, our football is bad, the quality is kind of different, but still Remo Stars lost a game. It is a result. Liverpool beat Man United 7-2. That was not the worst Manchester United team that have played football in the history of the club. We have seen so many heavy defeats.
7-0 by the way.
7-0. We have seen so many defeats. Manchester City beat Chelsea 6-1. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, like, we have seen, it doesn't mean Chelsea were so bad in that season. We have seen Arsenal being battered by Manchester City 5-0. This season, Manchester City beat Arsenal. I'm trying to remember the scoreline. I think 5-0 where Alin Allen scored a brace or something. Arsenal were not the worst team. Arsenal beat Manchester City 5-0 last season. Even when Manchester City were in their worst season, it did not mean Manchester City were the worst team or were the team that were struggling with relegation. So I just want us to take the results calm, and like you already said, Remo Stars, this is a new team. I mean, we can forgive them, but at the same time we cannot forgive a 5-1 scoreline. But I just want us to let us take it easy. Our football has been bad. The quality has always been crazy. Even with Super Eagles, we still talked about it last week. Where we talked about the fact that we did not even have to be in that position where we were going to be playing in the playoffs in the first place. So I mean, let us take it easy on the conversation of okay, our quality is bad and all of those things. We can lose games and tackle the game that was lost, but it did not mean that okay, South Africa were so exceptional that I mean the team that progressed ahead of South Africa in the CAF Conference in the Club World Cup, they could have, if it's not a big team, who did they play? Aside Borussia Dortmund, they could have matched up any other team in that place, but they did not progress. So, I mean, South Africa, Mamelodi Sundowns are a good team, sorry. They are top there in terms of quality, but it was not what made Remo Stars lose 5-1. It was just a result. We have seen sometimes coaches, the way they approach the game, maybe the way Daniel approached the game, he could have been a bit conservative, maybe just concede 1-0 in the first half, or maybe even play out the goalless draw. And in the second half, many things will change. Kwara United went to Ghana 4-3. We expected that they were going to come here and win, but they lost the game. Kwara United defeated ASF Rabat 3-1. No, without Casablanca. 3-0. That's a very, very big team in Morocco. They beat them at Onikonye 3-1. They went to Morocco and lost 2-0. They lost on away goals rule. So I mean, our football is bad. Everything is not well structured. Everything is bad, but we can always tackle the results on the line, not just okay. I know emotions are flying up and down and all, but we'll talk about that our results is bad, but now our football is bad. But now let's just talk about the fact that okay, Remo Stars lost the game and it's not the most exciting, but it doesn't mean that okay, because Sundowns are Real Madrid or they are maybe Manchester City at this point in time.
To Remo Stars, they are. Let's because how we call a spade a spade.
No, how are they?
To Remo Stars, they are. Looking at what they've done over the years, the style, the kind of football they play in the Club World Cup. It's not about how many. That's why I said to Remo Stars, they are. If you get my point. So I'm not trying to say they are the.
So you're saying Remo
I'm not saying they are the cream de la cream when it comes to African football. Of course, there are other teams who, but to Remo Stars, they are Real Madrid. They are Real Madrid to Remo Stars. Because if you look at the teams, how they show themselves in the club work, you talked about the players making it. I don't think if those players you mentioned that if they were here, any difference would have been made.
They would have not lost 5-1.
They might lost more. Because you can't tell me that
it's possible. Thank you
when those players were there. How did they progress?
That's what I'm saying.
It's the same situation.
Thank you for understanding the points that it could have been possible that they did not even lose this game or or they even lost more. So I'm trying to let us know
It's
that
the same way.
the football has been bad in previous years, even before this game where they lost 5-1.
It's the same way we can look at it
have
and
seen many
say-
results where teams lose 5-0, 5-1. It doesn't take away the fact Arsenal beat Manchester City last season. This is the most recent. Or even PSG defeating Inter Milan. This is the Inter Milan that throughout the league phase of the Champions League, they consider just one goal. And then you concede 5 in the final. I just want us to sometimes look at the game itself. I mean, sometimes the way you approach the game or the manner in the tactics or the players, sometimes it just may be loss of head, lagginess and all of those things. And then before you know it,
I'm
3, 4, 5 goals are entering into the net.
I'm sure Coach Dan will look at the game and tell the players this scoreline is not acceptable.
Of
Yes,
course,
we know
I
it's a
already said
Sundowns,
it.
but
You
you
can't
can't lose 5-1 at home.
Joy, did I not say it?
Irrespective
I said it now.
of this- because
I'm
you're
not
trying
saying-
to like
no, I'm not saying,
water
what
down
I'm
the
saying is-
scoreline
what
a
I'm
little
saying
bit.
is The conversation.
It's not acceptable. You can't lose 5-1.
What I'm saying
Coach
is-
Dan I know would not tell his player and say, okay, and try and make it.
I have
No,
not
you
mentioned.
shouldn't be losing 5-1.
I have not mentioned.
I think you're not getting what he's saying.
I have not mentioned yet.
I'm not trying to water it down or cut it with anything and say yes.
I
You know,
have
our
not
league is
mentioned
not.
right on this
Let's
seat that
call it what it is.
5-1
It's
is.
acceptable.
Ask our producer when I was speaking with this morning. I told him that this is bad, and the representation he even gives our league is that our league is shit. Because if you beat our champions 5-1, then it means that something is definitely wrong with your league. But I'm saying that there's too much conversation. Twitter, WhatsApp groups, everywhere, Facebook. There's too much conversation around the fact that our football is bad, our football is terrible, based on this 5-1 loss. And that's why I'm saying that we can address this loss and we can talk about the fact that our football is bad. Like I said, if we go back to 5 episodes or 7 episodes of the Gliders, when Remo stars, I've not even known that they were probably going to play Mamelodi Sundowns. We had always talked about the fact that our football, our league is shit, our football is bad and all that.
But
So
we can't
I'm
stop
trying
talking
to
about
say,
it.
no, I'm trying to say, like, let us calm down a bit on the conversation of, okay, our football is bad or all of those things. I understand your points. Even me myself, I can't take the fact that, okay, you lose 5-1, not even away, at home. Enyimba lost 6-0 in the Super League. Which year? When was Super League played? I think 2023. We talked about the fact that our football is bad. Now, Remo Stars have lost 5-1. Our football is bad. I mean, I'm trying to say, like, let us separate these conversations at times and let us not just, okay, go ash on that thing. Next week now, or next season, Kwara United or any team will lose 6-0. Then we'll say our football is bad
again.
So I'm just trying to say,
The
like,
thing is,
I understand
for
the point of, okay,
for
Remo
every
Stars.
opportunity, the conversation will continue to rise. We continue to be out. The more these poor performances keeps on coming, you can't just stop people from talking about the league or taking it back to the league because it is always going to be, okay, a reflection back to the league. Because I mean, at the end of the day, Rivers United also lost away.
Yeah.
They have a fair chance, if you ask me. They lost 1-0 away from home. The advantage is that they are coming at home now to play. And for a team that they don't score.
Emmanuel, sorry to cut you short. I don't know if you saw the Rivers United game.
No, I didn't.
Okay, if you saw the Rivers United, you know that in the first half, Rivers United themselves should have scored about 3 goals at least. Imagine Rivers United scored 3 goals and then they come back. They have to come back home and just not do a lot of job. But if Rivers United go out of the competition right now, we will talk about the fact that our football is bad. But the football I watch Rivers United play, they play decent football. The only issue I've always had with Rivers United, I remember the time they played the first leg, the first round, where I talked about the fact that as much as they played good football, they still need to improve on their goal scoring chances, and that's what is only affecting them. It doesn't mean that Rivers United play bad football, and that's what I'm saying. Let us take it easy on the conversation. Someone that did not watch Rivers United now will say, oh, the whole team is shit, everything is bad. But Rivers United were the better team on the day, just not on results. So we need to calm down when we talk about these things. I understand your point. You have made your point, but I'm also happy to.
Well, I also understand you guys, but I will just cut you short.
No, sorry. Just let me just say it's on Remo Stars. Okay. They just need
we will
to
not
sort.
End this conversation.
They just need to Still, they need to sort the leadership situation in the team. They've lost some. Leaders, core players, spine of the team. I think the handband is too big for Adida Olamiliko. If you ask me,
that's a shot.
There's no leader in that backline.
So who do you expect
for Remo Stars? I don't know. I'm not Coach Dan, but from the look of things, I don't want to say. I don't want to say what I experienced. Outside the game. I think there was a player who was like talking down on him, stuff like that after a particular game. As I'm not going to mention names now, but I think he's kind of a quiet, timid, reserved kind of person. So I don't know. I don't know, maybe they need to do something about that. But in that backline as well, no leader. Gino Nuka has gone. I mean, a lot have been said about Leonard, with the way he commits errors here and there. But I think there's no one in that backline to rile the team on.
A really tough time to rebuild a team around just from the back of winning the league. Talking about Remo Stars, but we hope they bounce back. But they will get to play later on this week in the Champions League, where they play the reverse fixture. Although some people say they should not bother traveling to South Africa, but that is bad.
Keep your money and don't waste your flight tickets.
You need to play the game at the end of the day.
Anyways, we have Champions League game this week in that's in the CAF Champions League, because Rivers United will coming back home to play that reverse fixture here in Uyo. Remo Stars, Black Bulls, they lost by 1-0, and right now they will need to beat them by at least two goals. Two goals, not just. Is it just 2 goals?
2 goals. 2-0 will see them go through. But if Black Bulls score one,
away
goals
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So yes, 2 goals will not be enough if it's not 2-0. Let's put it that way.
Exactly.
That's for it. But there are Champions League games this week, and I mean, a lot of talking points will come from it, which we'll talk about next episode. But before that, let's tell you about what happened in the MPFL, where we had a lot of goals galore. It was in the MPFL, and a lot of away wins too for me, because surprising away wins, not a lot, surprising away wins, because Eimba, that had not lost in about 7 games in the league, had gone to lose back-to-back games to newbies. That's even the funny thing. They lost to Kun Khalifat first, and then on the back of that, they are losing to Warri Wolves at home. They lost Warri Wolves in Aba. And also we saw Kun Khalifat getting back-to-back wins, and funny that these wins are against traditional sides. By the way, this time around they went away to Yanagua to beat Bayelsa United.
Bayelsa United, they just give point for
you get.
And the funny thing is they've gone away.
Yes, they've gone away. They were the first team to go away and pick up maximum points, because they went to Shooting Stars, and they beat Shooting Stars.
They beat Rivers United just last week.
Yeah, they had a decent start to the season.
Anyways, those are some of the results we saw. Barua have ensured that Kano Pillars coach Evans would be relieved of his job with a 2-1 win behind closed doors.
Suspended.
We talked about
Use their word. Use their word.
One sack by
someone
should
take over now on interim basis. What are you not suspending?
That's what. Use their word for them.
Let's finish the show. I'm going on Twitter to go and continue, because what I tell you suspend, I give you a set of.
It's the way we use words in the league, and it's very sad. But I mean, just use it the way they have used it.
Anyways, those are some of the results we saw in the MPFL. Now, some of the things you expect to see in the Champions League this week. Which game are you expecting to see? Which game is your look?
Real Madrid against Juventus.
That's the game.
Mbappe score. Use gliders. Listen to bet. Mbappe to score. And
that's the game. Same.
You know, go well Liverpool Frankfurt.
Of course. I don't.
Are we to see 5-0?
No, it's of course, as a Liverpool fan, I watch Ekitike going back to his former club. I watch, but I'm talking as a neutral now. Okay. Real Madrid Juventus is
Real Madrid Juve is that. I hope that is going to give us the same excitement that Inter Milan Juve gave, because I mean that's one of the games of the season for me in terms of football.
We don't
season.
What's Chelsea playing again in the Champions League this week? When do they play Barcelona?
Barcelona, are you scared?
No, I don't
Barcelona is 25th.
I was thinking it's this week.
I'm waiting for that day. I should be on the show the next.
Now we go do routine. Now we go do timeline.
Bring back our island.
I'm waiting for that game as well.
Don't worry, I don't put that put on the show. You just does not win.
They say she know the people that she will put on the show.
Yes.
Okay, no wahala.
Anybody that is there, I trust them. This is Felix. This is Nicolo. I trust them to believe.
Before we go on the show, a very happy birthday to Nicolo, guys.
Oh yeah,
let's sing now.
That sing. We won't sing up again.
Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, Nicolo. Happy birthday to you.
Have fun, guy. Have
fun, Nicolo. Have fun.
Long life and prosperity.
Right.
This year you go finally win the league.
That's our wishes for you.
Prayer now.
Yeah, birthday wish, your birthday prayer for us now.
For those of you who want to know his age, you can ask him.
Ask him comment section. He always reads.
He's 22.
Football age. Anyways, guys, it was so much fun doing this with you on the show from the beginning to the end. And to everyone who is always looking forward to us every week, thank you so much for coming back, and thank you so much for referring us to your friends who are also. I mean, I saw new faces in the comment section last week, and I knew that these ones were new faces. So yes, thank you so guys for referring us to your friends. So always not miss out of this excitement, because I mean, Mikola said something and I stand by it. We are one of the most entertaining sports shows in Nigeria as a stand. So yes,
that's on P.
That's on P.
Yes, so
rubber
stamped.
Who that be?
We'll see you guys in the next episode, which promises to be more exciting than this one. Bye.